How Socrates married a woman 40 years younger, and what came of it. We don't know exactly how Socrates met Xanthippe, the woman who became his wife. Some say he first noticed her at the market, where the young Xanthippe was selling fruit. Socrates didn't go to the market to shop. Like any free Athenian citizen, he had slaves for that. He went there to talk to people, friends, strangers, anyone who would engage in a conversation. Athens was a busy trading hub, and the agora was full of merchants from other city-states, even foreign lands. Xanthippe stood out. She was sharp, spirited, and outspoken. Socrates admired that, and despite the 40-year age gap, he married her. We don't know much about Xanthippe's background. Her father's name was Lamprocles. That much we're told, and in his honor, she and Socrates named their firstborn son. This suggests he was a respected, if not especially wealthy, Athenian citizen. The second son was named after Socrates' own father, Sophroniscus, a common custom in ancient Greece, especially when both families were seen as honorable. Historical sources say little about Xanthippe. Even Plato, Socrates' most famous student, only mentions her briefly, and without any detail. But we do know that she was much younger than her husband, and that they had 3 sons. At the time of Socrates' execution, their oldest was a teenager, and the youngest, Menexenus, was still an infant. Xanthippe visited Socrates in prison, carrying the baby in her arms. By all accounts, Socrates loved his young wife, and she admired him deeply. At least, no ancient source says otherwise. But over a century after Socrates' death, the philosopher Xenophon, who considered himself one of Socrates' followers, wrote a work called The Symposium. It's a fictional account of a dinner party hosted by a wealthy man named Callias in 422 BC, celebrating his favorite athlete's victory at the Panathenaic Games. In this story, Xanthippe appears as the classic difficult wife, constantly scolding and insulting Socrates, while he, as the perfect philosopher, takes her jabs in calm, stoic silence. Why Xenophon portrayed her this way is unclear, but the image stuck. Other writers began repeating and embellishing this version of Xanthippe as the nagging woman who made life hard for her brilliant husband. Soon, dramatic tales began to circulate. Xanthippe pouring boiling water on Socrates' bald head, flipping tables during dinner parties, insulting guests, and so on. Socrates, in these stories, never fought back. He simply endured. And from that, people drew a lesson. No one but Socrates, with his perfect courtesy, could have endured such a woman. Friends, according to the legend, once asked Socrates, "Why did you marry Xanthippe? She's the most unpleasant woman in all of Athens." His answer became famous. "Those who want to be good horsemen don't choose gentle horses, but spirited ones, hard to manage. They know that if they can master those, they can ride any horse. I wanted to learn how to live with all kinds of people, so I married Xanthippe. If I can handle her, I can handle anyone." It's a great line, but it's fiction. Plato, who wrote so much about Socrates, never includes a single domestic scene like this, not once. And most of his dialogues take place in Socrates' home. If Xanthippe had truly been unbearable, surely Plato would have mentioned it. Or someone else would have. And here's something telling. During Socrates' lifetime, the famous playwright Aristophanes wrote a comedy called The Clouds, in which he mocked Socrates as a manipulative sophist. If there had been rumors about Socrates having a crazy young wife, Aristophanes would have pounced on them. A comedy about a cranky old philosopher and his sassy young wife? That's comedy gold. But no such play existed. The truth? Socrates and Xanthippe likely lived peacefully together. As Leo Tolstoy once wrote, all happy families are alike. Xenophon, however, needed a way to show Socrates' wisdom not just in public life, but in personal life too. So he invented a wife with a terrible temper, just to highlight the philosopher's patience and self-control. And the myth stuck. But like many stories from the past, It tells us more about the storytellers than the people they were writing about. Story? Give it a like and subscribe. See you in the next episode.